Do you think it is better to have a founder-led company? Like, is it stronger?
I think it depends on the results that are being produced and whether it has relevant. I think there are very unique and amazing founders in this world, and there are also founders that would and should get out of the way for other people, right? I mean, I don't think you can have it black and white, right?
So maybe for a start, just let our audience know a little bit. Who are you? What do you do? They probably know your brand, right?
Yeah.
But what do you do? And all that jazz.
Sure.
Yeah.
My name is Kim Fournais. I am the CEO and founder of Saxo Bank. I founded the bank on the 15th of September, 1992. At that time, we were a brokerage company, and we changed status into becoming a bank in 2001. So I've been doing this for like 31 and a half years now, and so far still going strong.
How do you do this for 30 over years?
Well, again, if you don't have fun, if you don't feel you have meaningful work and meaningful relations and work with great people, then of course, it's not going to work, right? But I'm very, very passionate about what I do, and either I'm turned on 100% or I'm not there at all. And so far I've been turned on for 31 and a half years, pretty much all the time.
So what then kind of keeps you turned on in that sense then?
I think I'm a person that sees a lot of room for improvement in pretty much any aspect. And this particular industry of finance, I actually started studying as an engineer, a civil engineering, and so I've always been very technically interested.
I love talking to engineers, by the way, because it's always a step-by-step, methodological kind of process.
I think having some structure is probably not a bad idea, and I really enjoy figuring out how you can improve things and do things better. And I think many people don't really understand money or the financial industry. I think many people believe that money is the root of all evil, that financial industry is evil, that, how can you make money on money? And actually we did some, I think, pretty nice animated movies called Money Matters. That are trying to explain actually the value of money, because it's really how you make them, how you spend them, how you invest them, that determines the value of money. But really, money is what makes things go around, right? We could not sit here and have a coffee or have electric light or something, and if you wanted to go to a restaurant, you had to offer a haircut if there was not a means of exchange, and so forth. And when you look at the financial system, everything in the world is very much based on that core component, whether we talk about fixing climate or politics or geopolitical stuff and so forth. I mean, money is really in the center of making things work, and sometimes also financing things that does not work at all. But I think that really the whole financial industry is a very, very, very exciting place, because it's kind of the common denominator for pretty much everything that goes on in life, right? Of course, there are human relations and love and all of that, which is also, but even that has a hard time surviving without a little bit of money once in a while, right? Because then you don't eat, you don't have a place to live. I mean, the basic components in the Maslow's pyramid of needs also needs money, right? To me, it's always been heavily interesting, and I think that the financial system can still improve significantly. When there's a huge friction cost and cost and complexity is too high, or it's opaque or intransparent, because I think everyone knows that there's been more or one or two bottles or bubbles in the history of mankind where clearly greed and fear and people not doing things well, using money to create extraordinary profits, or thinking that they could be super rich by just investing in Bitcoin or meme stocks or whatever, right? But in the end, it's all about actually the human mind and how people create win-win, or when they don't create win-win, which is what leads to pretty much all the problems that we see in this world, right? So for many reasons, I think money is just super interesting, and the financial system is really the core of it all. And we need a good financial system because it actually can help us bring happiness and a better world. So and it's not that I'm a messiah or anything. It's just I'm hugely interesting about these things, and I think whether we want to find solutions for climate change, or we want to have better lives, or we want to have better drinking water, or we want to, whatever we want to do, I think that this is about challenging the money from people who have them, that are savers, investors, people looking to have a good pension. Well, that money needs to be channeled into private entrepreneurs that are starting companies that can help us solve the climate issues, or create better healthcare, or produce better and more healthy foods and so forth. Right? And of course, it's not always good stuff that comes out of it, but it's a core component to make everything happen.
Okay, but then why is there so much misconception, and to a point that your team has to do a whole series around it? Why are people hating the financial system from your view?
Well, I think first of all, of course, there are lots of bad examples of people that did use money as a tool to do bad stuff. And I mean, if you're a drug dealer, it's probably not the money, but it's probably you selling drugs that's bad, right? If you have children working in a mine for you to make money, it's not the money that's evil, it's you that's evil, right? So I think that and of course there's a lot of political stuff that there are people that do not understand that if you create an ecosystem of win-win transactions, and if you as a business person, a private individual, want to win when others win, then money is a tool of good. And I think that that's actually what people should understand, that without money we cannot make it work. And just because people are successful does not mean that they're necessarily evil. It could actually be exactly the opposite, which I think it is in most cases, because consumers are pretty conscious about where they, and especially in the later years, they're much more conscious about where they want to, which brands they want to do business with. And actually, we're seeing now that the value of a brand and the virtues behind the brand is becoming more important for many people than price, for example, right? So I think that if you create unique solutions for taking care of climate change and you make money, is that evil? Of course it's not, right? It's a great thing. It's actually moving the world in a better direction. If you produce clean water for people, if you do great financial services that allows people to have better lives, I think it's a good thing, right? So I think it's something that needs to be explained, because of course it sometimes it tends to be political. Sometimes it's also if you are poor and you see people that have a lot of money, well then it can create envy. It can create a lot of bad things, right? So I think it's really important thing to discuss, and that it's all about how you make your money, how you spend your money, and how you invest your money. And I think that's a discussion that we would like to facilitate, and that's also why we did these movies. Whether that's going to change the entire perception around the world is probably doubtful, but at least it's an attempt to get a discussion going.
Fair. That's a long discussion, and I'm a big fan
discussion
of that discussion, but not today.
Probably not today,
right?
No.
But we'll come back again. This is a deep, complex discussion. Okay, but for all that thing that you're talking about, how does it then translate to what you are trying to do? Right, at Saxo, what are you trying to do? What's your vision and all that?
Well, first of all, I mean, of course, we would like to win and grow the business. There's no doubt about that. But we know that we cannot do that without creating win-win. So when I'm talking about win-win, it means that if we do not give great solutions, services to our clients that they can benefit from, and that are better than what they can get from competitors, it's difficult for us to grow. I was starting this with 70,000 euros back in 1992, and that was the Series A round that, you know, when you talk about modern fintechs. That
back then, was there Series A?
What's that?
Was there Series A as an idea back then?
No, of course not. I'm just saying that was the investment, right? There was no more money, and since then we've been able to grow organically. And I just think you have a hard time growing if you cannot continuously develop a win-win with your clients, and if you make mistakes, you have to correct them and so forth. Right? So the point being that what we are offering is really a better opportunity for everyone to take care of their personal finances in terms of, you know, depending on your risk appetite, your time horizon, and so forth. How can we create a well-diversified portfolio? You know. many people, including Markowitz, won the Nobel Prize talking about diversification, giving the best risk-balanced return. But actually, very few financial institutions offer true diversification. And if they do, sometimes it's very difficult and opaque to get proper pricing. And then it gets super, super expensive, right? So the combination of having really easy to use, intuitive platforms with a very, very, very broad product diversification and very, very low and competitive prices is actually kind of a precondition for people to have savings. And I mean, the Danish Consumer Council did a survey some years back where just 1% a year saved on your pension would allow you to retire with the same money 4 years in advance, right? And 4 years of your life is quite a bit. And if you like working, well, then maybe you have $100,000 extra in your pension.
You can
right?
continue to work if you love to work, right? Yeah, you love
of course,
your work.
And I think that to ask why am I doing it, it's because I feel very fortunate about what I'm doing and with whom I'm doing it with.
Yeah.
But the point being is it is actually super, super important for people to be curiously invested in the world, which is really why Saxo is here, is to have curious people invested in the world. And we can see that when people start investing, they get more curious. They start reading more news about climate, about politics, about geopolitics, about technology, about finance, about different companies, about different themes and so forth, right? And I think well-informed people that are curious about the world are also better citizens, and they're also better investors. So again, I think it's a win-win proposition, right? But more importantly, it gives people more room to fulfill their dreams and spend their time on what they want with whom they want to spend that time with, right? And that I think is a very basic component in everyone's lives and pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, I hear you. But that was 30 years ago, right? In a sense, back then there was a lot of friction. The brokers don't even pick up your phone if you don't have a certain, capital size. But today, everyone is doing something similar, right? There's a lot of self-serve platform. There's a lot of providers that are doing similar things. It's like the talk of the town, those like self-serve those calling brokers are all dead, right? So it's everybody self-serve.
We launched the first platform for accessing global foreign exchange markets back in April '98.
Yeah,
and that was the time where there were still fax machines and stuff like that, right? So I'm just saying that we were very early.
I remember fax machines.
No, but so do I, because in the beginning when I started the business, I came in the morning and I was writing research and I faxed it out and then I followed up on a telephone. Right? No, but just kind of fast forwarding. Today, Saxo Bank is a CFI bank, so significantly important financial institution.
For sure.
And we are A-. We have $110 billion from clients. We have the most widespread footprint with a platform where you can trade all asset classes in any currency denomination up to around 30 languages. So you can really trade or invest in any macro cycle of the economy. We leverage AI and so forth to service people. Our prices are unique. So whilst you say that everyone is still there in the marketplace and now you can have everyone doing online, that's fine. There are only also many cars in the world, right? But they're not equally good, right? So I think that there's a broader offering, and that's only good because, again, I think we have definitely been part of also creating a good trend. And competition is a good thing. I think it's good that there are many people out there trying to offer, and then we as consumers can make our own choices as to where we want to put our money and our trust, right?
For sure.
And I think that is important because when you do look at what's out there, there's still a ton of incumbent banks that they don't really have technology. It's legacy systems. They don't give you a good platform. They don't give you a good price, right? And of course, there's a lot of more kind of fintech or new neo brokers and online players and so forth. Yeah. And there's a lot of them. But like everything else in the world, there's also a spectrum from what I would call really good and maybe less good, right?
Yeah, fair. And like what you've pointed out, right? Essentially, there's kind of like a race to the bottom at this point in time. Everyone's getting cheaper. Everybody's doing their own platform. And the retail front or even institutional front is spoiled for choice, right? There are a lot of providers out there, but it's not always a great walk in the park, because a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, there are all these hidden fees here. You see some of the reports of all these weird things that other brokers are making, because somehow brokers have to make money, right? Like, it cannot just be a free thing, right? So,
but that's where, common sense is not that common, right?
Yeah.
And I think if people are being told by the broker that it's for free, well, then, maybe think again, because nothing is for free. There's nothing such as a free lunch, right? So either that broker will go bankrupt, or there are hidden fees, or you're the product, right? So I think, of course, people need to think a little bit, right? They need to use their common sense.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes when it's too good to be true, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do in Saxo is be very, very, very transparent about our fees. And we made a conscious big move lately where, honestly, our pricing, and we've always presented it, so it's not like there were hidden fees, but we always presented it, but it was honestly not too easy to understand. And we also had areas where we were too expensive, and we've changed all of that a few weeks ago, and I think it's very, very transparent, and it's very, very cheap. But then again, there's many things in the world that's cheap, but you still need a good quality, right? And that's, I think, what people don't get from a A- banking institution. And so my point is also, I just think that people should understand also that the quality and the substance of the service is very, very important.
Yeah.
And in the end, that is critical, because, and we want to make money also, of course, and we are making money. And I think we have a better business model now. We also scaled a lot. In 2018, we had around $15 billion from clients. Today, as I said, we have $110 billion from clients. We had 200,000 clients. Now we have 1.2 million clients. So it is a scale game. But you see a lot of these fintechs, a lot of these brokers that are continuously losing money, and you could do that up and until beginning of Corona, where everyone could fund a PowerPoint
There's
for
no
$1 billion or something.
Yeah.
I think now you need to make money, and you need to have capital, and you need to run a prudent service, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's changing, and I welcome always competition. I don't think there's a ton of people out there that are doing very well. I don't think a lot out there that have a great offering, but of course there's some, and I think that's good for consumers, and that's again a win-win for consumers that we do have competition. Right?
Yeah. So maybe help me understand a little bit, right? From your view, what is a good quality product in your vertical?
No, I think that it needs to be transparent. It needs to have, when we're talking about online, it needs to be available. It needs to work. It needs to allow you a very intuitive and easy to understand user journey. It needs to allow you to diversify, because a lot of people have not really understood diversification. It's not like we get educated in schools, whether it's in Singapore or Denmark, to figure out how you're going to take care of your investments, how you're going to diversify your portfolio. And people need to understand that compounded cost is going to be detrimental for your happiness going forward, right? So the whole notion of understanding how to diversify, and again, it's not something, now in Singapore, it's also not legal to sell client flows, right? So a lot of the people that said it's for free, they were selling the flows, and then you got a worse execution, and that's just a hidden cost. It's basically trying, in my mind, not to be entirely truthful about if you say it's for free and you sell the flow.
You are the product, right? So,
yeah, but I think to me that's highly dubious. It's completely legal in Europe. I know that there's a lot of discussions out here. It was illegal in Australia. I think actually, to my knowledge, it's also illegal in Singapore. We are not selling clients flows. And we would never do that, because execution and the whole quality of the service, you need to trust what you get. There's so many ways to skin the cat if you are not truthful about what you do, right? So I think trust in any human relationship is a key foundation. If we don't trust each other as humans, we cannot create win-win, right? Then you need great technology. It needs to be available 24/7 always. You need to have a very good product range. You need to have very, very efficient pricing. You need to have good risk management tools. You need to have good reporting. You need to be, right now, a lot of people have been in cryptos, in meme stocks, in so forth, right? But and lately people have seen Japanese stocks going up. Not many people can trade Japan. But again, if you trade Japan, which has been super interesting, well, you better remember to hedge your yen. That is also a component that most people don't do. Right now, US and stuff like Nvidia. Everyone talks about that. People also were big time into Tesla. That's down 2/3 now, right? So there are actually quite a few interesting stocks also in Europe and in many other places. And you need to maybe diversify into commodities, right? Now gold has been going up for a long time because of inflation fear. You have to access global fixed income products and so forth, right? So I think that there's a lot of things that very few people can do or is doing well. That is actually important, but that's not necessarily what young people just say. They just want to kind of there's the whole fear of missing out, and now everyone needs to every FOMO thing. But that's not taking care of your long-term thing, right? The people that bought games. I mean, it's completely hammered now, right? And so I think you need to be a little bit of curious into how you can diversify, how you can work with these things, and I don't think people should expect. I mean, there were people quitting their job to trade cryptos and thought, okay, I'm going to be rich by this, right? And I think I hope they can find a job now, because it's now it's of course up again, but I think it is a very manipulated market, and there's a lot of people who lost their fortunes and their house and stuff like that on that, right?
So is the stock market not as manipulated?
Definitely not, and also there are very, very clear rules. You go to jail if you manipulate stocks, right? But I think what I'm trying to say here is that you should not assume that investing will make you a billionaire in a few months' time, right? Investing is also something that you need to have a longer term plan with, and you need to manage your risk, because otherwise you could go to the casino, have a drink, maybe a little bit more fun, right? And you're gonna lose your money in any.
It's more exciting, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people find excitement from trading crazy stuff in the markets, and you can do that by having leveraged products and so forth. So you can have all the fun and games, but I think if you seriously want to manage your long-term wealth, you need that diversification, and then actually derivative tools can be good. For example, it may not be a bad idea to start thinking about selling covered calls on some of the stocks now, because they are at all-time highs. We see inflation continuing. Interest rates are still high. You may even buy protections from buying put options on stock markets, right? You can even hedge your equity risk, your beta risk, by selling CFDs or selling futures and so forth. So again, I think that these tools are also helpful for people who know what they're doing. And I think that there are many, many ways where you can actually both benefit from rising markets, from sideways markets and falling markets. If you are heavily engaged and you know what you're doing, But don't think that it comes easy, right? Because it does not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a walk in the park, okay? Right? Yeah, there is a lot of learnings in this.
But that to me is actually important. That we would never try to tell people that you just do some crazy stuff and then you're gonna get rich, right? Because the opposite will most likely happen. And I think when you deal with people who are indicating to you that this is like gonna be happy days and there's you're just gonna be super successful by trading crazy stuff, that's probably where you should think. If they say to you it's all for free, you should probably think, right? So I think common sense should be more common, I would say.
Okay, fair.
Hey, welcome to the Financial Coconut Podcast Network. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And if you're loving what we're creating here, like, share, subscribe, share with your loved ones, comment in the comment section below. And we'll see you for great content on Chills with TFC.
I want to dig a little bit into this fund flows, client flows type of situation. I know some people already know what's going on, but if you can kind of help us expound on it, like what are some of these brokers doing with the flows, with client flows?
Well, I think that there's a lot of these very highly leveraged brokers that do not really hedge a lot, right? And you can see what that looks like is that their client assets are not growing. So, I mean, we're growing our client assets significantly. We have 110 billion US dollars, but there are some brokers where it is really like a casino, right? So your loss is my profit. And of course, that is not what I would call a financial institution. That's a casino. I mean, you play against the house, and again, if that's what people want, that's fine. But I just think they should be aware of what kind of business relationship they are entering into, right? If you can call it that, right?
Fair. I hear you. Okay, so you run a self-serve exchange pretty much, right? I mean, that's not the whole business, but from a consumer self-serve exchange, right?
Well, I mean, it's not
it's a lot more than that, right?
Yeah, but we're not an exchange, but we connect to pretty much most exchanges of relevance in the world.
Yeah.
Also OTC market. So whether you want to trade bonds in US, Europe, here in Singapore, even in the Middle East, so global fixed income markets, global stock markets, global futures markets, global options market, global foreign exchange market, global CFDs markets, mutual funds, global ETFs, all that. So it's pretty much any financial product, whether it's a cash product or derivative product, you can access on one account, and you can have any currency denomination that you want and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And also operate that in a very cheap and efficient manner, but also with a real-time overview and good risk management systems and a lot of education. And we've spent a lot of time and money actually also leveraging AI to service clients better, because of course we know client's portfolio, and that also means that if someone is having a very concentrated risk in an asset class or in a specific product, Navita or whatever, we can notify and say, are you aware of the risk that you're running? And you may be interested to understand that if you're looking for a long-term return with the best possible risk reward, diversification is a good idea. Here's how that could look, and try to help and educate people. And there's also a lot of rules and regulations around, of course, having suitability and appropriateness test and so forth, but linking that with good education, and also honestly, because as I said, to us it's a win-win. So it's not a good thing for us if clients lose their money.
Yeah.
Because we may lose a client, and then that client may not be super happy, right? So we don't have a business model that if you lose your money, we make the money, and then we are sitting having a party afterwards, right? So it's really important for us that we do whatever we can to educate clients in managing their wealth the best way possible. That's really why we're here, man.
Yeah, fair. So I want to kind of dig a little bit into this blockchain thing and how is it changing the exchange business, right? Because
do you think it's changing the exchange business?
No, I want to hear from you. Okay, is the blockchain going to change the exchange business?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on blockchain. So far, I think also there was a lot of hype to that, right? And I mean, everyone who just mentioned blockchain on a PowerPoint could raise a ton of money, right? I think a blockchain in many ways is kind of the solution to the problem that has not yet been identified, right? So I think there's a lot of stuff you can actually do without a blockchain. Does that mean that blockchain has no merit in the world? Of course not. I think that a lot of especially on the operational side, on how exchanges work, I mean, you could have kind of a T0 real-time execution custody clearing solution leveraging blockchain, but there's a lot of stuff that is going in that direction anyway. Right? The problem I think about blockchain is that for that really to work, it needs to be a standard that everyone uses. Because if you just have someone that did something super smart, but no one connects to it, no one uses that as standard, or people try to develop their own many different solutions, it's just not going to be that environment, right? But it definitely, there will be stuff to come, but I think it's still early days. And again, the most kind of well-known blockchain, Bitcoin, is consuming the energy of a country like Sweden, right? So it's not exactly a solution right now, I would say, right? But definitely there's many ways in terms of payments, in terms of operational, and many things that where blockchain can be efficient, but it's just a piece of technology. It's a tool, right? And AI is a tool. The internet is a tool. Microservices is a tool. APIs is a tool. Blockchain is a tool. So I think it's expanding the toolbox, but we need to figure out, and people need to understand how that can also create win-win. So it's not just a hype that people get all excited about, and then they don't really understand what they're excited about, other than they think they can make money really quickly. Right?
Yeah. So you're not afraid of the blockchain?
I think it's an opportunity. I think all of new technological inventions and things that, I mean, Saxo would not be here today had it not been for the internet, which at that time was same discussion, right? And we thought, wow, man, this is something that anyone can have a screen with filling out those pixels and building good software behind it. And the financial industry is kind of fantastic for that, because we're moving data. We're not moving tennis shoes or beer cans or whatever. So there's not a logistic problem. and that has propelled us forward. Now there's AI, there's blockchain, there's lots of stuff that is coming that can help us with many things in solving the many challenges that I think mankind have in this world. So of course, sometimes technology can be used for something really bad. And we all know that, right? But it's a hammer can also be used for something bad if you hit someone in the face with it, right? So to me, I'm a pretty optimistic person. I think we should think about how we use things, but I don't see that as a threat at all. If we can make stuff more efficient, it's better for everyone.
Okay, so 30 years ago when you started this thing, and 30 years today, now you're the big boy in the game, right? Pretty much.
No,
right?
we're just a small Danish-based company. We're still, we're still humble, and we're still trying to grow.
You have significant presence around, right?
We're bigger than when we started,
sure.
and hope in 30 years we will be bigger,
even bigger, right? Okay.
No, but again, it's again about creating win-win, and it's about expanding. We've invested a ton of money, and we keep investing in our technology, in our solutions, in how we can, as I said, better help our clients to navigate the financial world, and we'll continue to do that. So it's also, of course, if we could not grow, then we would be relevant. Then no one would appreciate it. Right? So it makes me super proud that our clients and partners trust us with their money, using us for managing their financial affairs. And but we want to stay super humble, and we want to be very focused on continuing being humble. And then, of course, we hope that we can continue to grow. But you have to understand, for us, it's really about. It's a big honor to trust is a big honor, and you should think of it as a big honor.
It's true. It's expensive, right? It's very, very difficult to get. Yeah. So from there, right? Actually, I wanted to ask a little bit more about this whole founder-led type of businesses, right? Because in the financial markets, or at least amongst analysts, there's always this talk around like, oh, this is a founder-led company, like what you're doing. And then there's all these other very experienced CEOs that go around the table, right? Okay, so they do 10 years here, they go to the next place. Do you think it is better to have a founder-led company? Like, is it stronger?
I think it depends on the results that are being produced and whether it has relevant. I think there are very unique and amazing founders in this world, and there are also founders that would and should get out of the way for other people, right? I mean, I don't think you can have it black and white, right? Of course, as a founder, if you keep thinking it's fun, and you keep being in a position where you can hopefully motivate the people around you and execute things well and grow the business. I think that there are stuff in a founder-led business that is unique, because you're speaking to someone who's been there for a long time and who is very passionate and are making decisions that are long-term rather than short-term stuff, right? And it's not, I mean, a hired hand, right? But I think on the other side, you also have super examples of really fantastic CEOs, like I mean, Jamie Dimon acts as a founder, right? He also has a lot of JP Morgan stock, I know, but I think that is definitely a good example of you can say not exactly a founder, but someone who's definitely running the show as a founder and doing a really good job doing it, taking full ownership. I think the problems come again when you become too focused on your own ego, and you don't think about the blind spots you have, and that you forget that you're actually there to run the business, and it's not only an entitlement, a career thing and money thing and so forth, right? To me, when you really focus on the business and your employees, I mean the clients first and foremost, I think that many people can of course run companies, which we can also see in the world, right? But of course, it is special, and to me, it's also special because I really feel very dearly about Saxo, and I feel, as I said, it's a great honor to work with so many fantastic people, and to see the trust of our clients and partners, and I take it very seriously. But I've been here for 31 and a half years, and I don't think I'll be the right guy for the next 31 and a half years, right? So it's of course also, and the next person, of course, cannot per definition be a founder. Yeah. So I hope that there are good CEOs that are not founders, right? Which of course there is.
How would you choose the next guy? You know, what is in this next person that needs to have?
I think in the end, for running a business, the most important part is people and culture.
Yeah.
So people and culture is kind of you're not going to get the right people without the culture, and you're not going to have the right culture without the people. So it's kind of a chicken and egg, but it's also it's the most important, but it's also the most difficult. And that is all to me about virtues and values and behavior, right? How do you have to make sure that there are common goals that people agree that's where we're going and they understand them, but also how we're going to get there, that we do the right things for the right reasons, and that we are being super transparent also when the truth is not that nice. We need to face it. We need to clean up the mess when there's no businesses, there's no humans that are not making mistakes, right? But having candor, being able to discuss, as I said, having common sense, which is not that common, right? And really thinking about win-win, thinking about common sense, and then also taking ownership and making things happen. I think, to me, creating a culture of that where you have also clarity, focus, accountability, where communication, you asked why am I traveling the offices? Because I want to talk to our people, and I want to understand what we're doing in Australia and in Japan and in Singapore, and how it's going, and what's going well, and what can improve, and how can we help each other. And maybe I can shed a little bit of my experience, because I've been around for some time, on possible ways to maneuver the various challenges that we have and so forth. Right? So to me, it's people and culture. And that also means that of course you could be forced to it, and it's not unfortunately not entirely my company, so there could be other views than mine, but if I was the one who could decide this, it would definitely be to find someone from within that understands that culture, that understands what we have built, understands the people, understands the business, and so forth. And I think not only we always try to recruit from inside. I mean, once in a while we take experienced people from the outside, no doubt, and it's good to get some fresh blood. But honestly, we much prefer to get young, clever, bright people in that can kind of grow from within. And I think it's highly motivating for those people. And I think that's one of the reasons we have a very great people and culture. And I think that there should be always good candidates for the next role, whether that's my role or other roles in Saxo. And I think we are actually seeing, we've been better and better at it, honestly, in the latter years, because it's very difficult to manage this, and there's been lots of bumps on the road for Saxo as well. But I think in the last years, I think we've been really, really good at recruiting internally with great result, and I think it's strengthening the people and culture even more. So when my time comes, I hope that we can do the same there.
Nice. I want to dig a little bit into this whole recruitment side of things that you were talking about. So you said that in the early days it's a little bit more problematic, but now it's you've changed. You made some changes. It's better, right? So what are some things that have changed to strengthen your team?
Well, first of all, I think we are a more attractive workplace, right? When I started with 70,000 euros in capital, and I had one employee who got a very low salary, I didn't get a good salary. It was not necessarily the easiest thing to recruit great people, right?
Sounds like every startup, right?
Yeah, but so of course now I think that people that wants to work in and again, I'm slightly biased, but what I consider being the most dynamic and most interesting business in our industry. And luckily, I'm not the only one who believes that, because we do manage to get great people coming working for us. And of course, we need specialists from time to time, but I also really encourage us to create those specialists from within. And I think we get a lot of great young talent that comes and wants to work with us, because also we are one of the most digital financial institutions, and we use technology in a way very few people do. We use AI. We are always trying to figure out how can we improve. And obviously, leveraging technology is a very, very important tool to do that, apart from understanding the clients and the partners and the capital markets and the risk and the compliance and all of that. So I just think that we actually managing quite well to recruit young talent and to grow that talent. And we're also seeing sometimes when people have left. I mean, we just had one, and I will not mention the name of the bank in Singapore, but that person went there for a month, and then they came back and said, I really like Saxo Bank. So I think that we also have these experiences once in a while, right? And of course, that makes me very happy and proud. So
you should be. That's quite cool.
Thank you.
Maybe just dig your brain. Last two questions, right? So, what is one thing that you are actively trying to improve in Saxo? Because to be fair, as a CEO, you have tons of things to oversee, right? So, for you to put your bandwidth on this one thing, it must be quite important. So, what is this thing?
Well, I think in the end, honestly, it's always people and culture and leadership, right? Because without that, nothing can happen. So I think that's always like a priority one. When that is said, I think what we're doing now is we are completely changing the entire service and the value proposition in Saxo by actually, we have a unique platform. We have great data capabilities. We have worked with AI many years. And of course, the new kind of milestones with ChatGPT and so forth has given us additional room. So changing the service model in how we service clients and how we help clients in what we call a timely, relevant, engaging, and actionable manner, being really hand-holding throughout the experience to make sure that we can further help for our clients to fulfill their goals and dreams and aspirations of the world, I think is something that goes beyond having a great platform and having multi-asset and having great prices, which is kind of, you have to have that to win. And I think the service, which is not about having fireworks on your mobile phone when you do something crazy or something, but really to assist people in figuring out how you say, well, if your motivation is that you want to create the best possible pension in X amount of years, then how can we help you fulfill those goals? And there's a lot of data and information that we have in our infrastructure, and also just data about how can you do proper portfolio construction, how can you stress test your portfolio in real time, how can you get the cheapest ETFs in your portfolio, how can you better diversify your risk, etc., etc. Right? So it's really about being not spamming everyone with everything all the time, because no one wants that. But really, and actually, we had one of the Money Matter movies talking a little bit about that. But really not leveraging data just to our advantage. Because I think many people are doing that to kind of be more clever about it. Of course, we want to be more clever, no doubt, but really to help our clients and partners better navigate this crazy world we live in. Right?
Who is giving fireworks on the phone?
I think you know who is giving fireworks on the phone. I don't know if they do that anymore, but I think that to me is again a little bit where you can say, okay. That to me is just a little bit. Yeah, what can I say? I don't think I need to say anything.
I just had to slaughter it. It is very funny, but
no. But I think what can I say? But again, I think it's also if you have a financial institutions that are giving your fireworks on the phone, I mean. Have a great party. I hope you have bottles to go with it.
I like that. I'm of the same view. Yeah. Just Okay. Last question.
Yeah.
So, I mean, preparing for this, I've looked through, a lot of the information online and all that, right? And one of the interviews you were talking about, like, why don't I just stay in bed, turn off the lights, that's like a line that really got me, right? So, and you went on to spiel about like why you want to do this and all that jazz. So people can go and look at the video. But at what point will you then like turn off and just like chill? Is there like a point where you're going to take a step back?
I mean, honestly, I would like to be involved in Saxo as long as I'm on this planet. I'm not, I think we all have days where we would like to just stay in bed and turn off the lights. But that's not a strategy, right? So, and I'm not at all like that, and I've never done it. But of course, sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes you have good days. I luckily have a lot of good days, and again, if you for a long period of time have a lot of bad days, you should probably think about whether you are in the right place and doing the right stuff with the right people. So far, I've been super fortunate to this to enjoy what I do, and I keep enjoying it. when I'm no longer a CEO of Saxo Bank, whenever that may be, I hope that I can still be close to the business, because I love it. And I think everyone, as long as they live, need to be intellectually stimulated, as well as they need to use their body, and they need to be curious and so forth. So to me, it's about spending the time we have on this planet in a good way with people we really enjoy, right? And of course, work is an important part. And just lying on a beach drinking gin tonics, I don't think it's not going to be fun for many days in a row, right? So I think it's, of course, finding a balance about how you can spend time, and you can spend time with your friends and your family, and enjoy other things, because it's not only work. And of course, work is time consuming. So I think it's about finding that balance, and that's, I think, for all of us, about finding that balance in the end. And of course, I like that Saxo can run a successful business. I'm competitive of nature. I think you have to if you work in business. But at the same time, I think that time is really the real resource, right? I don't think that none of us should eat too many steaks and drink too much red wine in any event, right? So we should probably spend time on something that we enjoy, and where we can hopefully be of use and create win-win. That's really what I think about.
Nice. Thank you for spending time.
Thank you for being curious.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. And shout out to the fireworks. It's okay. But yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for
so
your
much.
time.
Thank you for your interest.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Cheers.